Let's talk a little bit about Donovan Peoples-Jones. That's a guy that, his role is going to increase anyway with Odell Beckham Jr. not being here. When we look at what the Browns have done, throws 20-plus yards downfield, 5 targets, 4 catches, 164 yards, 2 touchdowns, perfect passer rating, 99.9 Pro Football Focus grade, first in the NFL. Let me ask you this. How important is Donovan Peoples-Jones specifically in this game, because you're not going to have Nick Chubb, you're not going to have Demetric Felton. Now, Odell Beckham Jr. has gone to Los Angeles. Is he an important piece to this offense now?
So he was a primary part of the offense before OBJ left, because the way things shook out, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Jarvis Landry, and Odell Beckham Jr. never played a game together this year, because Odell was out the first 2 games, then Jarvis got hurt in the second game, and then Jarvis came back, and then Jarvis and Odell were back, and then that's right when Donovan Peoples-Jones got hurt, and then he missed 2 games. So you never had all 3 of those guys together. So the result is that when Donovan Peoples-Jones was out there this year, he's always sort of been like the number 2 receiver. He never was the number 3 receiver. Even though I thought coming into this year, it's like, okay, there's one thing to be like, when you're the 3rd guy and defenses aren't really accounting for you as much and whatever. And we saw him when Odell got hurt in the Cincinnati game last year, make that play to change last year's season. So I just think it is harder to do the more the defense accounts for you. And I do think it's this backwards thing that I've been trying to work out in my head, that OBJ was always more of a deep threat, which means defenses accounted for him more down the field, which made it less likely that Baker would throw him the ball down the field, and that Donovan Peoples-Jones defenses don't account for him yet as much. So actually the fact that he was less dangerous than Odell Beckham Jr. actually opened up the deep passing game, if you know what I mean. Because even last week, Baker said that 60-yarder, the safety gets pulled down on Njoku's route in the middle of the field, and he's talking about, hey, David is going to draw that attention. And, Donovan Peoples-Jones is sort of not at the point yet where if a safety has a choice on Njoku or DPJ, I think he's going to go to Njoku. If Odell was on the field there, I think he might have gone with Odell and opened it up for Njoku.
Yeah,
it's a lot of circular reasoning.
No, I get it.
Trap.
Before much longer, though, couple more big plays.
Yes.
Donovan Peoples-Jones is going to be the safety's attention is going to be strictly on him.
So as he gets better, and he has gotten better, and he's doing his job at a high level, it almost, in my mind, Dave, in conclusion, it's almost like the better he gets, the less we might see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because teams are going to have to account for him now.
Yeah.
They're going to have a plan. We can't let this guy beat us deep. So maybe, because in the end, what OBJ did here, one of the better things he did was open stuff up for other guys, because he pulled a safety with him. So maybe DPJ starts, the more accomplished he is, the more we get towards that. And all of a sudden, here's Jarvis. All of a sudden, here are the tight ends. Here's little flips to the slack guys, right? Here's Anthony Schwartz running underneath and hitting him on the move. I just don't know. I think Baker still is maybe at the point where, he took Donovan Peoples-Jones last week because Donovan smoked his dude with the double move and there was no help. So he took the one-on-one matchup. That's what Baker says all the time. They're going to take the one-on-one matchups all over the field. And the better you get, the less often you are in one-on-one matchups, because they're dropping a safety on top of you.